Okay, this is an update on the Skylar Mack story that I touched on last month. And if y'all don't know who she is, let me bring you up to speed. She's this palm-colored female, 18 years of age. I think they said she's a pre-med student from Georgia, or she goes to school in Georgia. And she decided that she was going to go over to the Cayman Islands to see her boyfriend perform in this jet skiing competition, or whatever kind of competition it was. And over in the Cayman Islands, they basically have a protocol with WUVID and everything like that, that you have to basically stay quarantined for like 14 days. This little heifer right here couldn't even last 2 days under the protocols that they had in place. And every person they give over there who goes over to travel over there, they give them an ankle monitor. Well, not an ankle monitor, maybe an ankle monitor, I'm not sure what it is, but it is a monitor of some sort. And they basically tell them, like, look, you have to leave this monitor on. Do not take it off for any reason. Well, she decided that she was going to completely say F what you say and take her monitor off and go to her boyfriend's competition. They ended up finding out that she did. She took her monitor off and she ended up having to go to jail. Now, her original sentencing was 4 months, but then the judge made it lenient on her and gave her 2 months. Now, I think her boyfriend also, too, got the same amount of time, but they reduced his as well, and she got 2 months. Well, I'm here to tell you that she only did 1 month. 1 measly little month. And, you know, her grandmother started crying tears. They even tried to see if they could get 45 to pardon her so she could come back to the States. Now, like I said, this is back in December. Of course, 45 didn't reach back out to her or her family. And I highly doubt that he was the reason as to why she only got 1 month, because I skimmed through the article already and there was no mention of him pardoning her. So now she is out of the Cayman Islands and she is back home. And I think as I was reading through it as well, I'm sorry, it happened on November. It happened at the end of November. It happened after Thanksgiving, like a couple of days after Thanksgiving or a day after Thanksgiving when that occurred. Because they said originally she was supposed to actually be coming out of jail or leaving from the Cayman Islands later on this month. Later on this month, maybe sometime like somewhere around that time. Later on this month. So she only had like a week or so left, and, you know, they didn't even do that with her. So she, you know, did that, and they said that she initially was sentenced to 40 hours of community service. So originally she wasn't even going to get the 4 months. They were only going to give her 40 hours of community service and a $2,600 fine. But they made it, they said that, you know, due to her selfishness and her arrogance, that's why they gave her the sentencing that they did. Now, I looked at, according to the population in the Cayman Islands, based on this article, they said that the Cayman Islands has roughly about 65,000 people that live there. That's a relatively small population, but it is an island nonetheless. And they said out of that 65,000, they've only had 380 cases of COVID-19, and out of those 380, only 2 people died. So you can see why they had those protocols put into place, because they're actually doing pretty well despite the 2 deaths that they had. That's way better than some places I've heard, especially in the States. So you can see why they wanted to keep her over there and literally give her consequence for what she did. But she did not see it that way, which is why she was quick to take off her monitor and go to see her boyfriend in this competition. And then on top of that, they saw her passport. They saw she came from the States. They already know what the States is like. They probably said, look, people from the States coming here, let's put up a hazard sign. Because they know the cases in the States are astronomically high. And they fear that she could bring something over, especially because they don't have a big population of people and their numbers are very low and they want to keep them low. But she probably cried and did the whole, I don't know, whatever, got very emotional, and that's how she ended up getting out. All I'm going to say is this. she is very lucky that she did not go over to North Korea and pull an Otto Warmbier, because them people over there are a lot less tolerant apparently than those in the Cayman Islands, because we all know the story about him, and all he did was take down a banner. Imagine you go over there and they give you a monitor and tell you to stay in your room or stay in this vicinity for a certain amount of days before you can go outside, and you do it anyway. She would have got the same treatment over there as he did, and they're not as lenient. Why do you think when that thing happened with him that 45 wasn't trying to interfere when his family was trying to get him back over here? 45 was like, nah, I tread into a lot of places very loudly, but with them I gotta tread lightly, especially because we have a relationship and I'm not trying to break it over one idiot. And when they brought Otto Warmbier back, he was near death. He literally was practically tap dancing on death's door, because I think they said he was in a coma and then he died like a few days later, because they said that his punishment was like torture or something like that, and they meant just that. And nobody felt bad for him. The only people that was upset was his parents. So she's very lucky that she went over to a nation that wasn't as strict as North Korea is, because her situation could have been a whole lot worse. As a matter of fact, she did a whole lot worse than Otto Warmbier did, because what he did wasn't putting anyone's life in danger. She could have went over there and potentially spread something to a nation of people that has a very low count of cases and deaths. So, but you know, look at her. That's PC for you. That PC privilege worked out in her favor, as it tends to do. And she's young, and she, you know, quote unquote, has her whole life ahead of her. She's pre-med. She has to go out and save some lives. Meanwhile, she could have been putting lives in danger because of her arrogance. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please text the number that is pinned down in the comments below so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And I will talk to you in the next one.